Good evening, everyone. So I hope that you all are excited about tonight. I hope that you're ready. Listen, before we even begin, we want to say hello. We want to greet you and we want you to share this broadcast. My name is Natasha Brown Watson. I am the CEO and publisher of Elohai International Publishing and Media, and we work with faith visionaries to share their stories, to impact the world, to inspire the nations. And I'm so excited because tonight is a Meet the Author event, a conversation called From Tragedy to Victory with author Diane Davis. Now, she wrote this awesome book called Tragic Victory, and many of you may be familiar with it. It is called From Tragic Victory, Learning to Navigate Life in Tough Times. And let me tell you a little bit about the book, and then we're going to bring the author right on. So it says Tragic Victory, Learning to Navigate Life in Tough Times is an intimate and transparent memoir of how one mother discovered her own inner strength while enduring the heartbreaking fight for her children's lives. Author Diane Davis documents the tragedy of addiction and depression and the downward spiral of those closest to her. Now, although tragic, she discovers victory, love, and an unexpected, joyful new beginning. This story will empower survivors of trauma and parents who've experienced the loss of their child or children to keep moving forward in pursuit of the inevitable light on the other side. So I'm going to bring Diane Davis on. Before I do, let me tell you a little bit about her. Now, Diane is an amazing woman. She is a writer, a consultant. She's a native of Denver, Colorado, but now she lives in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania with her husband of 26 years. Diane has spent her professional life in program development and fitness motivation. She's a certified personal trainer, a fitness advisor, and a motivational speaker. She loves public speaking on health and wellness, and now how to turn tragedy into victory. So let's bring on our author, our woman of the night, Diane Davis. Hello.
Hello to you, Natasha. Hello to everyone, and thank you for having me. I'm just humbled to be here.
Thank you so much for being with us tonight, Diane. We have been on such a journey with this book. It's been such an awesome ride with you. So grateful to have been invited in this journey. Now, this book came out in May, in Mother's Day weekend in May. So you have been a published author now for more than 2 months. So tell me how it's been and what are some of the things that have been happening for you since you published this amazing book?
Well, I'm still in awe, and I say to my husband almost daily that it's kind of hard to believe that this is really happening. Mm-hmm. Just to give you a little background, I had the sadness and the tragedy of losing my 2 children, one in 2002 and one in 2014. And I had always kept a journal. I kept a journal because I lost my mother at a tender age of 52 from breast cancer. And in 2014, I decided I wanted to write a book to try to be able to help others go forward. Walking in these shoes is a difficult thing to do, but if you can touch someone else's soul, it means so very much. Dealing with loss is never a great thing. But I've been so blessed to have my husband by my side every minute and encouraging me. I've been so blessed to have to have my family. Um, my daughter passed away, and she left us a gift of our grandson, who we call our son, and he is a victory. His name is Taj. He was 5 years old when he found his mother dead on the couch. It's in the book. It was very tragic, but of course, we brought him to us because there was no other way we would have it to have this child. That's my daughter and my son, Shemaine and Scotty. And then our grandson, that we call our son, Taj, who is a baseball player and a great guy. There she is holding that little munchkin that was born in 2004. And Taj is a big baseball player. I was just sharing with Natasha how he loves to play baseball and is doing very well, and now a senior at Roman Catholic High School. So the book came out on May the 5th, Cinco de Mayo. And Natasha had suggested that we have a Mother's Day book signing at a very historic church here in Philadelphia, Mother Bethel. And Natasha actually flew out for the book signing, and it was a storm-driven day. I mean, God was so good to us. It rained sideways, but there were 60 people that turned out for this book signing at this historic church, and it was remarkable. It was absolutely remarkable. And I thank you, Natasha, and I haven't taken a moment to thank Elisa and my other two guests, whom I adore. So we had the book signing at Mother Bethel, which was lovely. The next book signing we had was at my son's high school, Roman Catholic High School. They had invited me to have a book signing there, which went really well, and our videographer was with us at that time. Then we had a book signing at Belmont Mansion, and that went really well. So I humbly am so grateful for the fact that this book is touching the souls of other people, which I would hope to have that happen.
Yeah.
Be able to read this book, because I believe it is a tragedy, but it is a victory.
Yes.
And I love being able to talk about it because it keeps the children's legacy alive and going forward.
Yes.
And that's what I would hope for.
Absolutely. You have been, since your book came out, like you mentioned, you had your book launch, you had some other book signings. I love how how he just stepped up and started talking about this book and spreading the news to his friends, and now his school even had you there. And so you've done so much in such a short amount of time, and now you're recording audiobook, which we'll get to later. Before we go forward and bring on our first guest, let me just tell the audience we want you to be very interactive tonight, okay? And we're going to reward you for that, all right? So chat as much as you can, share the broadcast, put your comments in, make sure you're just dropping those emojis, love in the chat room, and we're going to pick out two chat members, okay, two of you to win a copy of Tragic Victory. And we're going to do that toward the end. All right. So, Diane, I'm going to actually read one of your reviews. Let's look at one of your reviews. Okay. You have received so much feedback on this book. And everyone who has a book, make sure you're going to Amazon and you're putting your feedback on Amazon, because we want everybody in the world to be able to find Tragic Victory. So let's put up our first review. This is an Amazon review. And it says, wow, I could not put the book down. There are no tricks or plots, just one incredible narration of true life events and circumstances that most of us can relate to. If you're wondering, how do we stay hopeful when the world around us is falling apart? And how does one continue to have the courage to live and not just survive after being hit with countless tragedies? You must read this book. While it's so easy for us humans to fall into dystopic, unfounded, and uncreated fears again and again, The world has seen how humans are capable of surviving. And not only that, we help others survive even in our own healing. These small reminders help keep us going. There are no justifications to how life can sometimes be so cruel to some of the most amazing people. And yet, with everything they have endured, they are still the gentlest and most giving people. This book gave me hope. I had a good cry and felt this enormous gratitude in my heart at the same time. It's that good. The characters, their beauty, and their tragedies pulled me deeply into the book. A must read for anyone who needs the right dose of good writing, powerful storytelling, and most importantly, the message of hope. And this is from K Author on Amazon. I love that. My goodness.
I am so completely humbled and touched. I tell you, it makes me cry. I mean, I wrote the book. I would take time. It took me a little over 2 years working with Nancy, and sometimes I would stop and I'd cry and I'd put it down and I'd say to Ron, I don't think I can. And there's something that Ron and I will do for you at the end. We'll give you a poem, but he would always say, don't quit.
Yeah.
And I knew that I had to share my story because it was so important for me to give others that faith and that hope. Because if we can just stand fast and have our belief, whatever our higher power is, whomever we turn to, it makes all the difference.
You are absolutely right. Diane, are you ready to read just a little bit of your book? Can you do that for us? We want people to know what you're hearing about. Okay, we're talking here with the author of Tragic Victory, Diane Davis. She's going to read us just a short excerpt from the book. If you haven't gotten this book already, we're giving 2 copies away. So all you have to do is interact in the chat room, and we're going to randomly choose 2 of you who are in the chat room to win a copy of this book. But most importantly, we want you to be buying this book for you and your loved one. So Diane, take it away.
I'm going to read just a couple of chapters to, I'm not chapters, forgive me, paragraphs. I'm so excited, I'm a little nervous, that after I had written a certain amount of this book, this is what I wrote. And it says, what have I learned walking this journey? I've learned to reach out on that long arm of faith and ask God to order my steps daily. I've learned to appreciate life along with each day. I've learned to love deeper. Being married to Ron is a blessing and a gift. Loving a man so willing to walk this journey with me, for better or for worse. Because he is so terribly humble, one would never know he is in 3 halls of fame: high school, college, Virginia State, and the Central Collegiate Athletic Association, CIAA. What a role model to me, his family, and the world. He is the most loving, honest, ethical, respectable, brilliant, compassionate grandbear, which my grandson's son calls him grandbear, father and husband that could ever exist. Ron never stops giving, never stops encouraging, and never stops saying, don't quit. A victory. And in the darkness, there's always light. Seeing Taj thriving and growing into a dynamic young man, playing sports and knowing he will be a future leader of his community, fills my heart. His mother, Shemaine, is smiling upon him and very proud. We often talk about what a great and gifted mom she was, although she just couldn't say no. No to the monster. No to friends that weren't friends. Such a painful loss. But from that loss comes hope. Hope that we can save someone walking that thin line of depression, an unspoken silence. Hope to let that someone know we're there for them, we care, and we love them. Talk to your kids. Ask them about their friends, their feelings, and school. Young people don't always want to talk, but always try to keep the door open for communications.
That's powerful. Thank you so much. And I heard there where you're talking about Ron, you're reading about Ron, and you say a victory. And I love that. Taj, you call Taj a victory. And so after I just feel like God did give you such a beautiful light at the end of the tunnel, and being able to, meet Ron, who walked this, tragedy with you, and now he's walking this victory with you. And then you two being able to raise Taj from the point where he was 5 years old to now, a senior in high school. That is phenomenal. Such a blessing.
It's been beautiful. I mean, we didn't know, we had already raised our children. We bought this condo. It was made for two, as a beautiful view. And then we had the tragedy. What do? You do your best to pick up those pieces and give this child the best life you can possibly give him. He slept in our bedroom on a blow-up mattress next to our bed for 6 months, so that we didn't want him to be frightened. We didn't want him to be afraid, because he was born in Hawaii, and it was much more quiet there. You didn't hear buses rolling up and down the street or trains going. So it's been a beautiful parenting with him, and he's a good kid. Nancy and Mark know him, and he's wonderful. And I love the fact that we could give him a good life.
Yeah. I know I don't want to give away too much of the book, because we really do want people to read it for themselves. But you mentioned this, so I feel like I can ask you one more question about Taj, and, how this entire thing started. He was 5, and he was at his mom's house, and she fell asleep on the couch, right? And
Well,
Taj.
my daughter had severe asthma, and she mixed it with a substance called cocaine. That was her drug choice. She had a boyfriend that was not a good boyfriend, and they had split up and they weren't living together. But one night he came over, he gave her um, a few lines of coke, and she mixed it with some asthma medicine. She fell asleep and she never woke up. So when Taj got up to go to preschool the next morning, or early that morning, he found her lying on the couch, not responsive. And that little 5-year-old boy picked up the phone on the floor, her cell phone. I don't know how he did it to this day, and called her boyfriend and said, "Mommy won't wake up." And Bo came over and had to call the coroner and the ambulance and the police. And that's how it happened. And he called the 6 hours difference between Philadelphia and Honolulu. And I got a call early, and I was training one of my very dear friends, Monica McGrath, who has also been a soulmate and my inspiration. She's not with us this evening, but I love her dearly. And she was with me when that call came in, and I was completely devastated and almost hysterical. And she literally took the phone and took over. And from there, we went forward to begin this life
Yeah.
of Taj.
And it changed your entire life, as anyone out
Entirely.
there can imagine. My God.
Entirely.
So let's bring on our first special guest, okay? And thank you so much for sharing just a tidbit of the story. Again, you all, that's only breaking the iceberg, and you all need to read the entire book to really kind of grasp what Diane has experienced and why it's called Tragic Victory. But we're going to bring in Mark. Mark is an amazing multimedia producer, and he is going to be talking with us about his work with Diane, and how they are moving forward and going to take this book to another level. So, Mr. Mark Abrams, and we're going to bring him in right now. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I am wonderful. How are you? Tell us, how it's been to work with this phenomenal woman. And first of all, before you do that, tell us about yourself, because I didn't read your bio, but you are a pretty impressive man. So talk to us about your work.
Very much so.
Well, for me, I'm a multimedia engineer and with a primary focus in videography. Um, And that's how I met Diane. I was producing a television show for Comcast, oh gosh, in 2014, and saw Diane passing in the hallway from doing another show and said to her, "Hey, would you host my show?" And she looked at me like I had four heads and said, "Okay, we'll talk about it." So we did the show. It was a great little show called I Still Do, The Marriage After the Wedding. So that's how we became friends. And I met Taj and I met Ron, and it became a family affair. I went out to a lot of places with those guys and did a lot of work. And then as the pandemic came, like everyone else, everybody shut down and went into hibernation. And just out of the blue, Diane called me and said, "Hey, Mark, I wrote the book." Now, she had talked to me about doing a book, but I had no idea what it was going to entail. I knew about her son and daughter and what happened to them. But as you know, Diane, or DJ as we call her, she's always such an uplifting, happy person.
Mhm.
I had no idea what really happened until I read the book.
Wow.
And so she said to me, "Mark, I want you to come and videotape one of my book signings." And I said, "Okay." And I wasn't sure what I was getting into at the time and how I can contribute to the project. But once I came to the book signing and she read it, and I got a copy and I read it. Now, I'm a videographer, so I'm the first person going to tell you I'm going to wait for the movie. I'm not going to read the book. But I read her book cover to cover and couldn't stop because I couldn't believe my friend was saying all these things about her life.
Wow.
Then I got inspired. As a video visionary, I thought to myself, how can I contribute and bring this journey even more close to the public? So we started videotaping. I started doing video clips and I started doing drops. And then it came about to do an audio book. And I have an array of friends that are musicians and producers. And I thought of one guy in particular, a guy named Kenneth Higginbotham. His father was Judge Leon Higginbotham, civil rights attorney. And I connected Diane with Kayla, and we started this recording journey. So now we are in Kayla's studio, nestled in the hills of, I guess, Chestnut Hill. And Diane, being new to this whole studio project, she did a fantastic job. I videotaped the entire session. She's read 3 chapters so far with very minimal cuts. And we have more sessions to go, but the audiobook is actually being narrated by the author, which is not the usual take on an audiobook.
Mm-hmm.
And her tone, her intonation, her speed, everything is just flawless. And I have a vision for Diane is to create a sizzle reel. And I think the sizzle reel will help, your organization as the publisher to move her project forward, to let people see what it's about. Because every page someone can relate to.
Mm-hmm.
And I think college students need to see this on their way into the journey. People that have had problems that don't want to talk about it need to know. You
Yeah.
can talk about it, or let Diane talk about it for you.
Yeah.
So she and I talk almost every day now. She's come back and said to me, so many people stop her in private and say, "Hey, I've had similar issues," but nobody wants to talk about this.
Yeah.
So I'm looking to chronicle this journey with DJ and make sure that it lives forever, because I want to digitize it and make sure you can see it.
Yeah.
And while we're even on this call, I'm going to post in our chat room here or live on Facebook a couple of links that we did to some of the videos we did to her favorite song and some of the clips that we did when we were at Roman and the Belmont Mansion. And I'm just looking forward to what's to come.
Yeah. It sounds like with you on Diane's team, a lot is to come. I love that you're a videographer, but you automatically said, "Okay, people need to hear the book." You began. So now we have to just get this into a movie, Mr. Mark.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm thinking it should be.
Oh, I think so too. As you were talking, I just was like, "Oh, this needs to be a movie." In my mind, I'm thinking, "How can we do that?" So yes, let's speak it into existence. The movie Tragic Victory,
Yes.
coming soon to theaters near you.
Oh my God, I love it, you guys. My heart is just pounding. Mark has been so phenomenal, and he's such a great person, and he introduced me and Ron to this incredible person that's producing the audiobook. Is just, he has a sound studio, and it's so new for me, but it's very exciting for me too. And it's different. You know, you write your book and then you start to read it, and it's a whole different feel.
Yeah.
It's a whole different feel. But anyway, I talk too much, but Mark, you're wonderful. Thank you.
Yes, yes, yes. But I just wanted to say, add to that, as Diane was reading in the studio, she was reading the book. It was myself, Julia Wilson, who's also helping on this project, who's one of my videographers, and Kayla. And we were hanging on her every word, to the point when she missed a word in the book, we had to cut. Diane, was that it or at? I mean, that's how detailed we were following her in the book.
Wow.
And so now what it's done is it's forced her to go back and read the book herself, so she can re-narrate it and digitize it for the world to hear. But I know for me, when I was listening to it, it kind of put me in a trance-like state, and my mind just went everywhere about the possibilities. And like you were saying, Natasha, you know, made at minimal, made for TV movie would be awesome for this book, at minimum. But the silver screen would be the ultimate.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to make sure that they spell my name right when we get the Academy Award.
I have to hold on one second, Mark. Taj just came in, and I would like to introduce you to, and you all know him, but Taj Davis. Would you say hello, please? Where are you?
Hi.
Here he is.
Hi, Taj. Let's make you all bigger.
Yeah.
Hey, Taj.
Oh, I'm so glad he's my guy. He's so patient with me, and he's great with me, and you know, he knows that I do many things really well. Technology not so well, but he has a lot of patience with me, and I appreciate that.
You got to get her on TikTok, Taj.
Yeah.
Oh, he said he'd give me there. I'm not sure. I think Mark and I talked about TikTok, but we'll see. But anyway, Mark, this is awesome, and I'm looking forward to our continuing the audiobook, and I'm loving the fact that I'm doing it myself. I really like my voice, and I wanted to give it the feeling that I felt as I was writing it. I mean, just because it is so special, the title is so special. It came to me years ago that I thought if I ever were to write a book, this is the title that I wanted to have for this particular book. And for that, I'm really happy.
It's the perfect title. Okay. So, Mark, will you stick around, because we are going to do our first giveaway now?
Let's do it.
Okay. All right. So let's see if we can find some cool music. Let's see. I don't think we have any drum rolls, but let's see here. Do we have something, Elisa? Okay. All right. So we're going to do a giveaway, our first giveaway, for someone who is here tonight live interacting in the comments. We want to thank you so much. Laverne Bird is our first winner. Congratulations. Woo, 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 woo. You have been interacting, lady. Thank you. And you are going to get your very own copy of Tragic Victory. Congratulations.
All right.
Congratulations. I hope you love it as much as I loved writing it.
Yes. And Laverne, you may have RSVP. We may have your address. I'm not sure. But if not, we're going to put our email address in the chat room. Or how can we get her address? We'll put our email address in the chat room, Laverne. And so if you could email us your address, and we'll get you a copy of this book. Okay. All right. So let's move forward. Mark, any questions for Diane? Any last words before we move forward?
Yes, I thought about, I've had one question. What gave you the courage to finally bring this book to life?
Mark, that's a very deep and sensitive question. I think because I journaled so much for so many years after losing my mother, and then having lost, my son and then my daughter, and I was writing and writing, I thought I need to share this story. And meeting Nancy, who will come on soon, she said to me, we live in a condo, very lovely condo here in in the Art Museum area of Philadelphia. And Nancy and I were talking in the lobby, and she said, I think I'm going to start a writing group. And my ears kind of perked up, and I thought, ooh, okay, I think I'm in. Well, we were going to meet in person in a meeting room downstairs, and then along comes pandemic, and that's not going to happen. So we met on Zoom, and then I thought, I became frightened. I thought, how on earth am I going to share these words, this story with people that I don't know? It was 4 women that were magnificent. And I thought, first I started writing in third person. I mean, it was just a whole, genre of different ways that I wrote. And as I would share, we would go on and someone would read a chapter of your book that you wrote, or a certain number of pages. And these women were absolutely incredible, and uplifted me so that I could carry on in writing this story, in writing this book. One of the women said to me, I can't wait to read this story in first person, because I was writing in third person. I wasn't using real names. I just went through all kinds of changes because I was really scared about writing it. I was afraid. But I knew I had to share this story because I wanted so much to be able to help other people in some way.
Okay, excellent. And Natasha, one other question that's been looming in my brain. With my young producer behind you, Taj, who I've known since he was yay high, and now he's about 6'30". How did he feel about a book being written about him? How does it feel to Taj?
We asked him that, especially after the first book signing. And Taj is a very deep thinker. He kind of reminds me of the thinker. He's a deep thinker. And he paused and he said that he was proud of me for writing the book, but he really liked the questions that were asked at the book signing. When people would ask me questions about why I wrote the book, how I wrote the book, where he lived, what was happening. So I think he's very pleased about the fact that I wrote the book, and he has shared it with so many of his friends. His friends have bought my book. I've had Taj as a camp counselor at one of our campgrounds, and someone brought him home the other day and she said, I read your book. I loved it. And I mean, I can't even tell you how it makes me feel to have him proud of me for doing what I'm doing and what I've done.
Natasha, it makes me think of one thing you said about a movie. I'm thinking of the movie The Blind Side, but about the football player. And so now we have Taj who's going to be like a Major League Baseball player. So Tragic Victory will be his backstory.
Yeah.
Wow.
Direct the movie, but it would be an awesome thing to have because it's a similar type story. You would never think that this background's in DJ's life, Ron's life, or Taj's life, because they're all such cool people. I would have never thought this.
Yeah.
If I would have read that book and didn't know the name of it, didn't know the titles or the authors, I would have never said this is Diane Davis.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't even show this. She doesn't wear this on her sleeve.
Wow. And that's so, I mean, you said it right, like courage. Like you're such a courageous and bold woman, and you don't wear this story on your sleeve. And I'm in awe by this. Even when I went to Philadelphia and I met you in person after speaking with you for so many months and hearing everyone talk about you, it was just like, oh my gosh, you're such a phenomenal lady. And this story is like, you don't look like what you've been through. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
I just have to say that Monica McGrath, who wrote the foreword for the book, is one of my walking buddies, and she and her sister-in-law, we walked together. And one day we were walking and we were talking about the book and how are you going to get published? I said, I have no idea. She said, well, she had taught at Wharton, and she said, there was someone that wrote a book and she gave it to me, and I'm going to put it at your door. And you might want to just call the publisher one day. So I said, okay. So we walked on and a few more walks. And I looked at the book and I looked through it a few times. And one day out of the blue, and this is a few years back, I decided I would give Natasha a call. I thought, well, I'll call. And she's not going to answer, but I'll leave a message. So I called, and I promise you, she picked up the phone and I didn't know what to say. I was like, hello, my name is, and from that moment to this conversation, to this interview, she's been with me and been wonderful. And Elisa as well.
Oh, we love you. Lisa's our amazing, amazing author program director. She's in the background handling everything. But we're going to bring on our next guest. And Mark, you are welcome to stay on and just let's have a conversation. But we're going to bring on the writing coach herself, Nancy Rasmussen. She's a memoir teacher, a coach, an editor, and she is phenomenal. This book is a testament to your amazing work, Miss Nancy. So we need to give you an applause for being the midwife to bring Diane out of her shell and just bring this book to life.
Oh, she did many times. I'll tell you, Nancy, I would have tears, and she would always be encouraging.
Oh.
And Diane, I thank you so much for that. But you did it and you do it so naturally. It's not, I was thinking back to Mark's comment or your comment, I'm sorry, doing it in first person after you had written it in third person and given people other names. And you did that. So it wasn't like, oh, I don't know if I can. Let me think about it. You said, of course. And you did it. And you brought a whole new level, even though the level was already very deep. You brought a whole new level and warmth and honesty to it by doing that, but you didn't make it a big deal. You did it. And I don't think of myself as a coach, although when I serve as an editor for people, that's part of it. But this made me think of coaching and what is there for people. Hopefully I can bring forward, or I can remind them about, or that type of thing. So I didn't even have to with you. You just jumped right in.
Well, Nancy is a friend. We have become bonded, which is a beautiful thing. It's more than you meet someone and you don't always take to someone, but then you meet someone and you take to someone. You take to them. And, Nancy is such an incredible writer herself, and she's been published a number of times. And I thought, can I do this? Am I able to do this? And she was always so incredibly inspiring and inspirational for me to go forward, for me for her to be able to say, yes, you can. And my husband to say, don't quit. And Taj to give me encouragement, and our pastor and our psychologist. I mean, there are all these things that go into when you have a tragedy. You need these arms to lean on, and they give you strength. Sorry, Nancy. There I go.
Oh, no. I mean, that means so much to me to hear you say that. And Diane and I, she mentioned too that we live in a couple of tall condo buildings here in Philadelphia. And Diane and I have a way, I don't know, 400 people or more that live here, but we have a way of not only wanting to see each other and doing that, but running into each other. So it's such a delight to get on the elevator and there's Diane, or walk down the street and there's Diane, and we catch up and talk. She just brings joy to everybody. And the one other thing I wanted to mention about the book, that it would be, I don't know if easy is the right word. I don't think it really is, but to veer one way or the other. I mean, the tragedy to bring it to the victory, or the victory to remember or you talk about the tragedy, but somehow Diane naturally, just like she changed to the first person, does that naturally. And she keeps that reality there, but also the hope there, never going too much in one direction that we might get a little off kilter for a minute. So it's a delight to have her as a friend and to help her, which I didn't have to, do much at all with her writing. It's been a delight.
I was going to ask you, Nancy, talk to us about this writing group. Like, how long were you all in the writing group? And then what is it like now to see? And I'm pretty sure other people have probably published as well. But now, what is it like to, because I hear it's been a transformation of this book from going from third person, now first person. And so now to read the final product now from where, and you were there at the beginning, what's that like for you as the coach?
Oh, that's a great question. Actually, I have two writing groups. I teach for a community organization up in near Chestnut Hill, and we've been together for many years. And then this one is so special, but we share our writing, either read our own or somebody else reads it so we can hear it and give feedback, the positive and hints to maybe try this or do that. And we grow so close. And one of the things, one, it's these wonderful women, but the other is that in memoir writing, you're sharing your soul. I mean, the deepest parts often of your life. And here you are with 3 or 4 or 5 other people that you didn't know 6 weeks ago doing that. So it's, but we just care for each other so much in both groups, but particularly the one with Diane. We try to get together every month to do this. And we keep trying to meet in person, but then COVID rears its head and we go back to Zoom. But we've had a couple of meetings in person, which have been great.
We have a lovely garden here. It's kind of a secret garden. It's hidden away, being in the city of Philadelphia and having this lovely garden. And sometimes when we have the opportunity, we are outside and we gather and we may bring a beverage, but every one of the writers are so incredibly talented and gifted with what they do. And being a part of this group is very special for me. And having Nancy there with us and at my side, as well as the others, is very, very meaningful.
That's awesome.
And I write too. I mean, they give me the feedback on my essays. So it's give and take for every single one of us, a wonderful give and take.
It sounds amazing. All right, so we're going to transition. I want you two to stay here. Mark, Nancy, stay right here. We're going to read a review, but also keep interacting, everybody, in the comments. If you haven't shared this broadcast, go ahead and share it out. And if you have, share it out again. Listen, we want to make sure that we get as many people to this broadcast as possible, but also we want everyone that we can to watch the replay, because this replay is going to be a blessing as well. So go ahead and share. After you share the broadcast, type shared, okay? And we have another giveaway of one more copy of Tragic Victory for somebody special in the audience. So let's read a review and we'll be right back. So this is from Sharon Manker, and she is an award-winning supply chain, supplier diversity and inclusion strategist, as well as an author and a speaker. Her review says, my eyes swelled with tears after the first few pages, and I couldn't put it down. I felt the deep hurt, maternal distress, and became lost in this mother's story, the tragedy unfolding. This first book from Diane Davis managed to surpass my high expectations and blew my mind. This is definitely a must read for those who have suffered, are suffering, or need to learn how to grow from the devastating experiences of their lives. We can learn a lot about how to navigate in tough times. My goodness, that is a powerful review. Diane, what do you feel as you hear everyone talking about the book now? It's out after such a journey. You know, you took this journey through COVID as you started writing this writing journey, I would say. But now it's out and you hear these reviews. What are your thoughts?
I'm just, honest to goodness, I'm humbled and I'm just blown away. I just really am. I'll have someone stop me in the lobby or in the elevator and say that, how did you do it? Mm-hmm. And I don't know how I did it. I think by the grace of God, I really felt that I really wanted to do it, and having the encouragement of Ron and our belief in our higher power, God, um, our psychologist, who is phenomenal, Taj. I just am humbled by the fact that these words are so real and so honest and so true that came from my heart to this little book. Someone named it the little book that could. And I just want to help other people in some way because I can't bring them back, but I can hope that we can move on and do special things. Being a personal trainer is so important, has been so important in my life. Of course, I stopped, of course, doing pandemic, but to keep yourself active is so important. You know, I was a runner in college for years and years and years. I can't run anymore. The knees are gone, but I love to walk.
Yeah.
And walking gives me thinking. I love to meditate. I love to wake up in the morning. Natasha has a book out, a devotional book, and forgive me, I don't have the exact name. It's great. But it's on my desk, and in the morning I'll just open it to a page and read something that gives me inspiration for that day. And then I'll put it down. I have not read it cover to cover because the way I like to do it is to pick it up and open something and read something from her words that gives me the encouragement to move on for that day.
Thank
So
you.
that's, I hope I answered.
Okay, so we want you all, if anyone has a question for Diane, type your question in the chat room. Nancy, Mark, you've been amazing. And so I want you guys to be thinking if you have any more questions before we go. We want to make sure that everyone can meet as much of Diane as possible in this hour. But guys, guess what? It's time to announce our second winner. So we're going to turn on some more music. And now I need everyone who's here to dance and get excited. We're going to dance it up whenever the music comes on. All right. Thank you all for interacting in the comments. Our second winner is Elizabeth Robinson.
Oh, my Natasha. Elizabeth Robinson is a very, very, very dear and beautiful friend. She lives in, I believe, Seattle, and she's a phenomenal trainer. I mean, and bike rider of thousands of miles. And we went to her spin class, my husband and I. We loved her so much and still do. And her son, I'm probably going to misenunciate his name, Dankin, I think, is a year older than Taj. And oh my gosh, I love you, Liz. I'm so happy that you got my book.
Thank
Ronnie
you,
said
Elizabeth. Thank you so much, Elizabeth, for all your interaction tonight in the comments. Thank you for being a good friend to Diane. So does anyone have a question? Antoinette, she wrote something in the chat room. She says, I read the book shortly after it was published, just like the others. I couldn't put it down. I actually finished it on a short plane ride. It was such a powerful experience that made me embrace my children differently. Di, thank you for sharing your story and helping us reassess our relationships. Now that's powerful. Yeah.
That's my cousin Tony in Chicago. You guys, this is just, it's incredible. And I'm humbled and I'm grateful. Thank you so much for everything. I mean, you don't know when you write something, you write it from your heart. It's a memoir. This was a tough write. It wasn't easy to write about my loss, but yet my victory.
Yeah.
Our victory, having wonderful Taj, having wonderful Ron, having my friends. What friends we have are so very, very special. And they were so encouraging. Monica's daughter wrote a how-to book while we were in Hawaii to bring Taj and to help us find schools. And it's been a beautiful journey.
Yeah, I love how you even bring everyone into the book. Like all the people that you're mentioning tonight, these people are in the book and you'll meet them, the readers you get to meet and figure out how, and I really believe that God just divinely placed people in your life during this time and even up until now to help you get to this point. So it's been such an inspiration. And one of the things that I was thinking about, even as you were talking just a few moments ago, is like oftentimes when people pass away because of like a tragedy such as like drug abuse, it's like sometimes families try to like put it under the rug, right? And it's like they don't want to talk about it. But you are reshaping this story. And even though it was a tragedy, I feel like even your daughter's legacy now is one that can empower others. And you have been able to use it to help people. You know what I mean? And it's like her story didn't stop there. That's not who she was. That cannot be her defining moment. You're helping us meet more of her and also giving back and really empowering people who might be going through it, families who might be going through this. So I love how you didn't let like shame or any of those things like silence you. And so kudos to you for that.
Well, I think it's important to try to introduce my children through this book because they were magnificent children. They were fabulous. My daughter, she could have been an architect. She worked in an architect's office. She loved to draw, and she had a beautiful voice. She loved to sing. And our son, he spoke, at least 3 languages, and a graduate of the University of California, Berkeley. Very, very smart young people, and yet the road branch went a different direction. But if I can keep their legacy going and alive to help other people, that's what I'm here for. And that's what I pray for.
That's beautiful. All right. Nancy, Mark, any final words before we go?
Nancy?
It's wonderful to be here with you all tonight and in every way. And I can't wait to next see Diane in the elevator or in the lobby. So,
Nancy, thank you for bringing this book, helping Diane bring this book out. And now you've been a blessing to all of us who've had a chance to read it. So thank you so much for your contribution.
I'm honored.
Well, the one thing I'd like to do, I'd like to leave the audience with is, and Ron and I are going to.
Hold on, Diane. Hold on. I want to ask Mark first because we're going to close it out
I'm
with
sorry.
you and Ron. We're going to close it out with you and Ron. Okay, Mark.
Well,
Sorry, Mark. You know I'm a little nervous.
I just wanted to say, my brother Ron, powerful brother, and does a lot for the community, does a lot for diversity and inclusion. But I think Diane coming with this book is really going to change the dynamic of their family, because this is something that came out of nowhere and now is really gaining momentum. So I'm just curious to see where it finales. And I think, like you said, Natasha, it's going to finale in some kind of digital made-for-TV movie, silver screen movie, but it's going to be a huge stepping stone for Brother Taj, who I want, season tickets for when he gets on that team that he's going for, wherever that's going to be. But the whole family is like a power unit. And the passing of the children just paved the way to make this unit even more powerful. That's how I see the book.
Yeah. And I thought about something. You could be the host of the Tragic Victory podcast, Diane. And Mr. Mark, you can help be the producer of that. I'm just throwing stuff out there. Just
oh my gosh,
coming to me, because that will help you continue on the life of this book, even after the sizzle of the new release comes out. But we'll talk about that offline.
Oh my gosh. I'd like to have Ron say something too after Mark finishes before we do this, because he has been such an inspiration, my husband in my life, this former NFL player who is a gentle giant, and the heart of just makes my heart melt, but is so good and so encouraging for me and for Taj and for people around him. Taj and Ronnie, they never stop giving. They never stop saying, don't quit.
Awesome.
Well, thank you. And I have tremendous gratitude, first of all, for Diane and Taj, but for each one of you who has helped reveal the story of our lives. one of the things that is evident and the message through this great book is that everyone has a closet. Everyone has something dealing with pain or change or something that affected their lives. Because in life, there's no straight lines. There's no straight lines. Everybody has a curve to the line. So this book, I'm hopeful it will help people who have to deal with healing and pain and all the other things as an example of how we've dealt with it. One interesting thing that happened, and we were out near the pool, and Diane, one of her writing folks who had read the book, said, "You must be Ron." I said, "Yes." And she said, "I love you." I didn't know how to have, and I said, "I love you" back because I read the book. I love you. And it's such a compliment that Diane put me in that stratosphere. I'm just I have gratitude, and I'm thankful for every day that we're marching on our journey to the great things that we have in the future.
Yeah, and what's amazing is that a subplot, one of the subplots in this book is you two's amazing love story, and I like that someone said that to you because it's such a beautiful story that Diane kind of weaves in, and you're like, wait a minute, is this another plot in here? Like, is this a plot twist? And so I just love it. It's just beautiful. Ron, you are amazing, a great husband to Diane, and just awesome. I'm just so grateful to have met you, and thank you so much for joining us tonight. So Diane and Ron, you have a poem that you want to share, right?
We have a poem that we're going to share. This oftentimes Ron will give this poem at the end of one of his speeches, many speeches that he gives. It's in the book, but I think it's a powerful way to end our incredible session that we've had this evening. And Ron's mother was just an amazing woman, and she would recite this poem called "Don't Quit." She would walk, take the bus to go to nursing homes, to go to schools, to go to hospitals, and to give people to the way to be encouraged to carry on. And the one thing I didn't put in the book, that on her tombstone, the night as she was transitioning, she spoke this to the five of us that had surrounded her bed. And it's on her tombstone: "Don't quit. Because when things go wrong, as they sometimes will, when the road you're trudging seems all uphill, when funds are low and debts are high, and you want to smile, but you just sigh, when care is pressing you down a bit, rest if you must, but don't you quit. Life is strange with its twists and turns, as one of us sometimes learn,
that many a problem turns about
when we might have won had we stuck it out.
Don't give up the fight, though the pace seems slow. You might succeed with another blow. Success is failure turned inside out, the silver clouds and the tint of doubt. And you never know how close you are. You might be so near when it seems so far. So stick with your fight when your heart is hit. It's when things seem worse, you must not quit.
I love that. Yay. Look, I have to snap it up. That's what we do in the poetry slam. That's my second time hearing you all say that. And I'm just as touched as I was the first time I heard it. It's so beautiful. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I just want to thank you, Natasha. I want to thank you, Mark, you, Nancy, you, Elisa, behind the scenes, my son, Taj, for all of those that would give up some of their time this Sunday evening to allow me to share my story. I love you all and thank you.
And let me add a thank you to Reverend Mark Kelly,
Tyler, our pastor.
Kelly Tyler, who allowed us to actually have a book signing when no one else was allowed in the church, even funerals.
That's true.
So I mean, it was tremendous effort on his part to have this book signing as we were allowed to be there in this historic church that we belong to.
Mother Bethel is the oldest historic church in Philadelphia. And he was there for us that day. And the First Lady, his wife, was there for us. And there's just so many. There was a lady that sang a song that we love so dearly. It just, everything. It's been wonderful. And Natasha, you're not getting rid of me yet. I'm sticking with you.
Well, I love you. I love you. I love everything you stand for, and just so excited for your future and the future of this book. It has some legs now, and so now it's running. So
Oh my gosh.
thank you to everyone. Thank you,
Nancy.
Diane.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Mark. God bless you all. And listen, to all of you who have joined us tonight for Tragic Victory, from tragedy to victory, with Diane Davis. We want to thank you so much. Listen, books can't go anywhere without the readers, without those of you who share it. So please continue to share Tragic Victory. If you've been inspired tonight, go and get this book and share it with somebody who can read it, who can be inspired as well. And if you need help with sharing your stories, reach out to us. We'd love to connect with you. Until next time, everyone, we will see you later. Have an amazing evening.